Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the eve of basketball season. Wrapping up some soccer interviews. Had to get Holmdel Coach Nacarlo on. Fresh off a state title victory. Congratulations, Coach, and thank you for joining me tonight.
Thanks for having me.
First, we'll touch on, last season, you play your first, whatever they called it, regional game, and then, you get the word that the school is shutting down the sports programs. What was your message to the girls after that?
I actually knew right before we started the game. I got the word from somebody on the board that it was going to happen. So I knew going into it was going to be the last game we played. Obviously, I didn't want to mention it to them.
Yeah.
Message was, just obviously the turnaround, obviously all the success they had throughout the year and, everything we were able to do, obviously go undefeated, go 15-0, what big accomplishment. And I kind of focused.
Yeah. Your school and, two Middletown schools, disappointing ways that the season ended, but the season you had, the turnaround the team had from the season before, the way you got your team playing, was so impressive, and it would have been nice to see if they continue that run. What's that?
Obviously, yeah, it would have been, but even things that led up to that game, we missed Caroline Rebel, who was obviously quarantined because of her brother, who was on the boys team who had it. So after she got quarantined, everything just kind of didn't feel right after that, because she was obviously a big piece of our team. She was a captain. So, but not saying I'm glad it happened, but
Yeah, it was, difficult year for, I feel bad for these kids, what they had to deal with, not just on sports, just on, adjusting to, different school life, in the classrooms as well. They had a tough year last year.
Absolutely.
What was your to start the season? Your team came, 15-0, a lot of expectations, preseason number one. What was your message to the team to start this season?
Just that we weren't under the radar anymore. So everybody knew about how talented we were and how dangerous we were. And, the biggest thing to them was to realize that it's not easy being that number one seed and keeping it. And, obviously we weren't able to do that. But I think we learned our lesson, in the game that we did lose. But, my message to them, obviously in the beginning of the year, was we just got to continue to work hard and, continue to get better every day. And, that's what we did.
Now, the loss you're talking about the RBC loss in the Shore Conference, bad time to get a loss. But, me and you talked after that, and, you said, you thought that, was a blessing in disguise almost to help, push the state run that your team had.
Yeah, when I sat back and I watched that game and I thought about that happened, I just remember how my girls were at halftime. And it goes back to even – the first summer we started doing Capelli, where they were kind of goofy, not focused, and we're not half. And it's almost like they had the game won, and we're only up 1-0 at the time. And RBC hit us with those quick goals, and we just haven't been in a situation where we had to rebound, some adversity.
Another game I wanted to bring up was, during states, the wall game, they played you tight. It was 0-0 at half, right?
Yes.
You guys scored late to get the game winner late, right? In that game?
JK scored in overtime.
Oh, so it went to overtime. What was your message to the team after regulation before overtime started?
I think I always find myself in the same situation when any of my teams go into overtime. Like, we're going to get one. We're going to get one. Just continue to play the way. And we're going to get our chances. We're going to put the ball in the back of the net. And luckily for us, I forget how quick it was in the overtime, but, JK was able to get the ball.
Yeah. I think it was within like the first 2 minutes you guys scored, right?
Yeah,
I think.
First minute.
And then the next game, you go on the road to play Haddonfield. I didn't understand, what the state was doing with, no neutral sites. you know, not known as a strong team, but they jump out to a lead on you. What's it say? You know, your team battle back and put what 4 straight goals in, right? They put in.
Yeah, we gave up 2 goals early, and obviously there was a lot of controversy about why would a number 1 seed or number 2 seed be playing at a number 7 seed, even though we're in different sections. It seems like that could have been handled a little bit better, but we embraced the fact that we had to go on the road. And another positive I took out of it was they've never played in a big game atmosphere, and when I tell you that they had a huge crowd. We're playing on their home field. It was a nice complex. And for us to go down 2-0 early and then fight back was pretty incredible. And that, I really thought that was a good thing for us going into the state finals.
What was your message to the team before the state finals up at Kane University?
Nothing. We didn't change anything that we did prior. We obviously had the day off, not the day off after Haddonfield. We came in for a light jog and stretch. We had a good practice, and then we had a good film session. And, the funny thing is I was stressing how good the goalie was from Hanover, one of the best in the state. And, they're watching film, and I'm glad that I was able to obviously where she made like 2 incredible saves. But it was just, as long as we can focus on creating the scoring opportunities, they're going to come. We're going to get the scoring opportunities. And, the biggest thing was in the locker room before the state finals, we talked about playing a perfect game and not making the mistake, some of the mistakes that we made throughout the year. And I really felt that we pretty much played a perfect game. And I was obviously proud of the girls for that.
What's, you took over the program 2 years ago, such a turnaround. I asked, when I interviewed Sophia last year, she went through, 3 coaches in 4 years, which is tough, but a lot of the same talent there. And, finally, the Holmdel back on the winning ways. What do you think the key thing was that, that got this group of girls focused for the last 2 seasons?
I think it was just the fact that they brought into everything that I talked about as far as what it takes to win. And biggest things was being fit. I'm a coach that better players are going to play. And, I always have it, not that I have a thin bench. Last year, I think I had 24 girls altogether, but I was going to use, the best 13, 14 girls because those are the girls that deserve to be on the field. And, I had a lot of my boys obviously come back and talk to them. So that was good. And, I remember Matt, they were running 120s and he's talking to girls. He's like, you might think he's crazy just looking at you. You're running, you're dying, and he doesn't care, but he does care. And, this is what it takes to, it's half the battle, just being fit.
Yeah. That's key, especially when you have the thinner benches, you can't get tired out there. I've seen teams that, similar benches, but they tired and they, game ends up going to overtime, and that's where they end up struggling. I want to talk. You brought up, J.K. Juliana, the postseason that she had. How many goals did she finish in the States?
She had 9 goals.
And I think you posted, more than anybody, any of your boys' teams in the state run. Just talk, what did she did to bring, go to that next level where the good players are supposed to go to that next level in the postseason.
Well, I have so much respect for JK as a player. Just everything that he puts forth on the field, obviously. I thought she had a big turnaround middle of the season. And the biggest thing with her is she doesn't get the recognition that most of the players get because she doesn't put the ball in the back of the net because she plays a 6. She plays a defensive holding mid. The reason why we've given up, I think the total was, I want to say less than 20 goals in the last 2 years. She's a big reason for that because she clogs up the middle. She works back defensively when she has to, when a center back has to step. Like, she's just always in the right spot, the right time. And what she did for the last 2 years was so valuable on the defense. But obviously with Katie's injury and, Taylor kind of lacking just to click a little bit because of the way we were playing, they weren't able to do the things they were in the beginning of the year. So I knew I had to make a change. So I knew JK, obviously moving her up was going to be something that could help us offensively. And obviously it did.
Another move you met, she played defense for you. You know, Alexandra's, you know, she was a key defense. You end up moving her up right to the sixth position.
Yeah, moved Lexi up, who in the beginning of the year, I kind of had her pegged for that position, and kind of struggling in the back a little bit because of the inexperience of some of the defenders. But the way that Nicole Warbell stepped up, she was playing on the outside for most of the year, and she played center back next to AD. You know, it was great to see some girls really step up in some important spots of just playing a different position. She's never played center back up until this year. She played there in the beginning of the year over the summer, and not that I had faith in her playing the position. I just thought we were better off defensively with JK, you know, obviously AD and Lexi at center back and Warbell on the outside. And we were like, and then you add Weezy to that, who, you know, Isabel Weiner, who's a freshman who played phenomenal on the outside back. And she's, you know, she plays in the middle, you know, obviously for PDA, you know, she made a great adjustment. So we were, you know, we were very solid in the back, and, you know, we only gave up 6 goals after that RBC game. We were 4 goals up, you know, to that point. So, you know, like I said, I think the biggest concern for me was offensively, we were putting in a lot of goals in the beginning of the year, and we were so for all those girls to step up and play, you know, a different position, you know, was key for us.
I want to talk about your goalie, you know, Haley. You know, I feel she doesn't get the recognition that, you know, she deserves because, you know, sometimes your team does score, you know, you're, you know, high offensive team, but, you know, to me, you know, she's so solid back there. What is, you know, knowing that you have a goalie back there you could be confident in?
That's obviously great. And one thing that I was, you know, anxious for when I took over was to work with the goalies. You know, obviously Katrina was a sister of 2 of the brothers that I had. And Sharp, I know the family well. And, you know, I know all the kids. I've taught them in class. They're a great family. So to see the competitive drive of Haley, you know, especially into this year, about just how much better she wanted to get. And it was just unfortunate, everything that happened to her. But like, that's the thing. Like, you know, I think she ended up with 9 shutouts in 13 games this year that she played. The injury, you know, obviously set her back. So she made key when she had to. Yeah. And those are the that, you know, she doesn't make 500 saves because she doesn't have to because of how well defensively, but she makes those key saves. You know, she does. We had a huge save against RBC when we played them the first time.
Yes.
You know, 1-0. Like, those things that, you know, that I have a lot of respect for Haley because she worked so hard, you know, to get to that point.
You brought up Katrina, you know, being able to step in, you know, when Haley was hurt. You know, a lot of schools don't have that luxury of having another, you know, a backup goalie. How big was she, you know, coming in and stepping in?
Listen, one of Katrina's strengths is obviously she's very good in the air and she has confidence. I feel like she could be one of the best goalkeepers. I feel like throughout that state tournament, she started gaining confidence back. And I think that obviously showed in her level of play. And, you know, the same situation, she didn't have to do much, but that Hanover Park game, you know, that free kick they had, that, from my angle, was kind of scary, but we worked on, you know, we said they're going to, any free kick, they're going to put on frames. So be a step off your goal line, you know, just get a good gauge of where the ball's going to be. And as long as you're in the right position, you're going to make the save. And, you know, obviously she's in the right position. You know, I think she saw probably 150 to 200 shots from about 30, 35 yards out before that state tournament.
Which is a testament of, you know, how strong your defense is that you know, they don't, you know, get in. Another play, obviously we got to bring up, you know, Katie V, you know, she, you know, to me, she was one of the best players in the shore this season, you know, finished with 22 goals and 9 assists. What did, you know, she mean to the team, and what did you see, you know, in her development in the last 2 seasons?
Well, I think with Katie last year, I don't want to say confidence because I don't think that was it. Maybe it was a little bit of confidence, but I felt like she had that prolific goal scorer in her. And even where she struggled putting balls in the back of the net. She had a lot of scoring opportunities early on. And I think if she would have put some balls in the back of the net, that would have helped her throughout the year. And kind of just like this year, you know, I remember we were playing RBC, and this is probably not a good coaching, but I had her still in the 5-0 game. She got taken down really hard and she hurt her shoulder. And from that point on, I think we had about six or 7 games after that point, maybe 6. She wasn't the same because when she gets hurt, you know, some players, it's difficult because especially with an ankle, Her right ankle. So she really fought through a lot of pain. She obviously did a lot with the trainer just to get better. And I think the best that it was probably against Rumson in the state tournament, because she had that 8 days, that period off after we got taken down by RBC. And then unfortunately the next day in practice, she re-hurt it by someone going in hard against
her. These players, I mean, they're tough girls out there, especially.
I'll tell you what, I in my last season with the boys, I remember looking, on the sideline, and I had 3 of my best players out at one point because of injuries. And not one time did these girls ever, even AD was fighting an ankle injury in the state tournament. There was Izzy D'Amatos banged up all year, and she never quit. She always wanted to play through everything. The girls just wanted to be on the field. There was no question that no matter what happened, they were going to play through. Obviously, unless they couldn't.
You brought up Taylor, before, another, 14 goals this season. What did you see in her development, from her sophomore season to her junior season this year?
So, like, someone who, again, I thought the recognition for her was a little bit on the short end this year. Put in 14 goals and had 10 assists, and what she does in the defensive end with her work ethic is just incredible. You're not going to have somebody that works as hard as her to win 50-50 balls, to gain the end line, to draw the back ball across. She scored some big goals. The one that sticks out to me the most is obviously the first game. It was a great finish. It was a replica of the goal she scored last year against RBC, at RBC. She's just really big plays, some really big goals. She had a phenomenal assist to Izzy in the game. She just comes up in key moments. And just to see, that's someone that has confidence. Like, you watch her practice. She's going to be a great leader next year. I'm hoping for the best for her, and I'm looking forward to see what she can do, in the next 4 or 5 years, especially college.
Yeah, and she's so fast too. When I saw her play last season, and I was just, wowed by the speed she had out there. Yeah. And that's tough, tough for defenders.
Yeah, and that was the tough thing about the adjustment that I made as a coach when, after Katie's injury, we kind of changed formation. And the reason why Taylor and Katie were putting up those numbers in the beginning of the year was because they were always working off of each other.
Yeah.
Where in this, they couldn't do that so much. And, it kind of hurt Taylor, obviously hurt Katie, because they do work so well together. And then obviously in the state, Katie, I said, listen, we're going back to what you and Taylor did, because, we're playing on a nice wide field. You're going to have the space. We got to use our speed to our advantage. And, Katie and Taylor had 3 or 4 really good scoring opportunities to put one in that state tournament. They just, obviously weren't able to capitalize.
Another player, she made all sure, defenders don't get recognized barely at all in the press, but, Adriana, she made, all shore first team APP. She made my all shore, first team as a defender. What does she mean to that back line?
So, and that was the thing that was flirting with at the beginning of the year, was possibly taking AD out of that back line. And I look back at myself and because I can't even tell you how many coaches, we went down to Sterling, we played there, Haddonfield, like they say, that's one of the best defenders I've ever seen. Like, she's just lights out.
I had a Jure coach when I was, I asked opinions, and they said that she was the best defender they went up against in the Jure.
Yeah, I'm going to find a better 1v1 defender. She's hard to beat off the dribble. And, even if she does make mistakes, are usually with the ball at her feet, and she waits for the defender to come in too close, and she gives it up. She recovers. She's the first one to get back and recover and get the ball back. And that's something I always stress in practice. Like, when we do possession, if you lose the ball, you better, work your butt off to get it back. And that's something that she does. And, just the way she plays, I always call her, she's a beast. Like, she hits the floor when she has to. She just makes big plays defensively every time. She saves us. She's done that multiple times in the last couple of years.
Does she know where she's going next year yet?
She's actually in the process of talking to quite a few colleges coaches right now. She's actually going to visit. She's obviously a little late in the game, but I've been talking to coaches about her. But she's looking at right now she's looking. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I feel like COVID last year hurt this year's senior class for soccer more than any other sport.
Yeah, obviously that junior year is so big as far as recruitment process. And her, Katie, they all play on. I think it's one team in the state, and they get a lot of colleges looking at them. Obviously when they go and play in other tournaments, and so they were, obviously.
Next is, you brought up Taylor for next season. Who else, you expect to step up to fill the voids as, Katie, JK, and, Adriana and Lexi?
Those are some big voids to fill. So, obviously with Taylor, with someone as dynamic as Taylor, if she plays up top or if she does play in the middle, and then you add, the freshman Wheezy who really stepped up. Lily Reardon played a lot of key minutes, who's going to be an important player. Felicia Arena, stepped up and played some time in the middle. She got time throughout the later part of the season in the state. You got Taylor's sister, Kayla Beelan.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for some of these younger girls because of all the talent we had up at, obviously, on the senior class. Like I mentioned before, I'm a firm believer of playing your best players as much as possible. And, that's what I did.
Yeah. I know a coach that got fired for that.
Yeah.
But that's, this ain't, wrecked it, you play your best players to win, win the game,
Absolutely.
All right, Coach, I appreciate you taking time out tonight, and going over, last season. All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Coach. Sorry guys about that. I cut it out short.
No worries. Next year, actually, I will be stepping down as the head coach for the girls team. And for the same reason I stepped down from the boys. Obviously, I don't want to say anything positive comes out of COVID because obviously it doesn't, but it did give me coaching, obviously being with the girls, great group of girls to be with. But, my son's going to be a freshman in high school next year, and I miss those years of play. Yeah,
you're not the only coach that's, stressed that, has kids getting older. They, they're looking, a couple of coaches have told me that they don't have much more time coaching because, their kids are getting older. They want to be there. It's completely understandable.
Yeah. And even before, that winter before COVID, when I did step down, I was coaching my younger son's team. We were in 3 winter leagues. We were playing a lot. We were practicing. So obviously I want to go back to coaching him as well.
Where's your son going to be going to school?
He's going to be going to Southern.
Southern? Okay. Yeah, you live down in that area. I forgot.
Holmdel.
What's that?
Wants to go to Holmdel.
Because you work there, can he go there? I don't know how that works.
Some schools do have that. Our school, they don't, they don't even have a tuition. Where some schools have, if you want to bring them, it's tuition. Some schools have, you can bring them for free.
Yeah, I know some public schools you could pay to go there. That's a big topic during basketball season. So, all right, well, Coach, I wish you luck, and I wish you some luck over the next 4 years too.
And thanks for everything you did over the last couple of years. It covers us.
No problem. I appreciate it, and like I said, have a good holiday.
All right, you as well.
Thank you.